Good morning. It's 6 o'clock on Monday, the 27th of July. This is Today with Justin Webb and Nick Robinson. Wherever you're hoping to go on holiday, you are now on notice. The rules could change at any time, with a few hours' notice forcing you to cancel or face 2 weeks in quarantine. So, in theory, holidays in France and elsewhere in Europe could soon be impacted as they have been in Spain. Let's talk now to Bruno Bonnell, French MP for the Rhone, a member of the President's En Marche party, and also to Professor Tom Solomon, who is just back from Ibiza and is director of the UK's Emerging Infections Research Unit at Liverpool University. Morning to you both.
Morning.
Good morning.
Just back, Professor Solomon. If it had been a few hours later, you'd now be in quarantine. Does it make sense for Ibiza to be treated the same way as the rest of Spain, given the different infection rates?
I don't think it does, no. I think the data for Ibiza are different to the rest of Spain. And I understand that these are difficult decisions, but the fact that for Ibiza, quarantine is applying, but the government have not said that people should not travel to Ibiza and the other Balearics does show that they are being treated differently. And I think as we move forward, this kind of thing is going to happen quite a lot over the summer. And I think we probably have to try and be a bit more granular about it.
What, granular in the sense of having perhaps regional quarantines? I think the Dutch are operating in that way. As you look around Europe now, Professor Solomon, and look at the data, there are quite a few other regions or countries that could be affected in this way, aren't there?
Well, clearly every country is monitoring cases, and I've just been looking at the maps now. I mean, it was at the data now, it was quite clear that Spain, things were on the increase for the last couple of weeks. And in fact, when we left for our holiday, we were aware that we might hit a quarantine period coming back. We managed to just avoid it. But what I think people need to know is they need to know which countries are on the watch list so that they can make informed decisions rather than just having this sprung upon them at the last minute.
Let's bring in Bruno Bonnell now. People will be rather worried about the figures that they're seeing from your country, from France. What, almost a doubling in the daily cases last week, I think?
Well, yes, in some clusters. I mean, we have to be precise and effectively all the data right now are gathered, but it looks like there are only a couple of spots around the country that are just starting to revive the virus distribution. What we know for sure is that another lockdown for sanitary reason is not likely to happen, and that's why our Prime Minister is warning that it just can't happen for both technical and psychological reason. It would be a catastrophe in terms of economy, and probably people will refuse that.
The French government have given more specific advice, as I understand it, saying, for example, that, be wary about travelling to the region that Barcelona is in, Catalonia. They've also got testing at airports. Do you think it's a better approach than you're seeing from the UK?
Well, we're trying to put people in responsibilities. I mean, we're trying to tell them, well, look, don't be responsible for bringing back the virus from wherever you want to go. On the other side, we all know that after 3 months of lockdown and a lot of tension, people want their vacation. So it's a complex mix of controlling and of trusting people that they'll make the right choice.
Getting this messaging right is very difficult, isn't it, Professor Solomon? I'm struck by the people we're hearing are on holiday in Spain saying it's safe here because everybody's wearing masks, which of course doesn't tell you it's safe at all, does it?
No, I mean, I was struck by, even in Ibiza where we were, people were wearing masks without any difficulty. And it's been interesting to come back to the UK where it seems to have caused such a lot of discussion.
But my point was, doesn't it give them an illusion that it's safe?
I don't think masks on their own give an illusion that it's safe. I think the best reassurance comes from the actual case numbers, and the case numbers in the Balearics are small. The case numbers in Barcelona are high, and that has the biggest impact on your risk of getting the infection. And I think moving forward, we could do with that sort of information to help guide people. But I think blanket bans on whole countries will just make it very difficult for holidaymakers and for the tourist industry.
And just in a few seconds, would you risk booking a holiday if you were doing it now, or frankly not bother?
I would advise people to do what we did. You have to look at the data and then you can make a judgment. But I think it would be helpful if the government provided those kind of data. If the government are worried about countries, let people know and then people can decide for themselves.
Professor Solomon, Bruno Bonnell, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
That is it for today. Tracy Rubenstein, Purvi Patney were our editor. Studio director was Nathan Chamberlain. That is it from Nick and me. Good morning.